Hey guys, sorry. Stay with me. The stream dropped, and I'll take the L on that one. Hold on for me. We'll get Coach back in here. Stay on here with me, guys. Sorry about that. We're gonna jump back in here. Guys, if you're still with me, I appreciate it. Hang on there. We're going to get Coach back in here just for a second. Coach, you still there?
Yeah. Sorry to kick me off.
No, it dropped. It wasn't you. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't have the battery charger plugged in, so that was my fault. But hold on one second. I'll let people jump back on. I went back live here a minute ago. I think it's been great so far. What do you think?
I hope so. Well, I guess.
It's been good. We've had people hang on there for a while, and the video has been solid. So we'll go for the last 8 minutes, or I'll scroll through pretty quick. This is the onside kick. I want to talk about that, and then we'll kind of go through, and then we'll get you out of here.
No problem.
I mean, appreciate it. All right, Coach, you should be able to see that now. Can you see that? All right. So, sorry, guys. For you guys that jumped off there, I'm going to take the L on that one. That's my bad. So, right before we left off, I wanted to make sure we kind of jumped on here real quick because we want to talk about this. So, Lansing just scores 30-21. Big momentum swing. Do you know they're going onside at this point?
Yeah, we put our hands team on the field. If you see them up there, we're hands team out there. We were anticipating it. I think we ended up recovering this one. So we knew they were probably coming for it.
Yeah, so it's I think Hardy ends up getting it right. Good kick, to be honest with you. It gets the bounce that you want.
Yeah, no, they executed it really, really well. We were fortunate to come up with it.
So 30-21 at this point, Hardy jumps on it. Just talk about, I mean, the level of that's what I like about Hardy. The guy just wants to compete. And to be honest with you, I love watching his brother play basketball too. They just want to compete. Those Bergmans, man. I'm going to have them at my house and teach my kids how to do it.
Yeah, no, we'd love to have his brother out too.
Well, I'll talk to Carter, see what we can do. But at this point, 8 minutes to go, man, we need to drive, right? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, yeah, absolutely. We need to bleed some clock. We need to put together a couple first downs and get momentum still back from these guys for sure.
So I'm gonna back this thing up just for a second. Watch what your quarterback does here. I'm sure you saw it on tape. What he does to your running back at this point, I thought it was hilarious. I remember seeing this live. I think it's the next play. But if I remember right, he pushes him forward.
Yeah, we'd like him to carry out his fake a little bit better. He gets a lot better at that throughout the season. That'll help him a lot more than a push.
Yeah, and that's what I love about these. And to be honest with you, I stole this again from Coach Bill Self. And You have that coach mindset on. You have that coach hat on. But you see, I'm sure you're watching this now and you're seeing little things and you're going through it. But as a fan, man, I think, or as a parent or whatever it is, we just see things so differently. And you just never know what's going through a kid's mind. Like, we see Chase right here. Who consoles that kid? Does anybody console him? Who is your assistant that jumps up and goes and says, "Hey, man, we got this thing. You're okay"?
Well, we have every coach has different roles, but within our quarterback group, Coach Hurl's there every Friday night and does a really good job of talking to quarterbacks. That's one of the things as a head coach. I've always coached quarterbacks and worked with them, but the great thing about having Coach Hurl there is the fact that as a head coach, I can't just go back and sit on the bench and ignore everything that's going on in the course of the game. And so he does a great job of building a relationship with our quarterbacks and going and talking to them in between series for us.
I don't know. Andy Reid does a pretty good job of doing that. You sure you can't go over there and just ignore it?
Mike Gundy did some of that too, but I don't think I could grow his mullet to pull it off.
Well, I feel like you could. I feel like you probably have had one in the past, but we'll leave that to be another day. So, again, 6 minutes to go. At this point, Lansing's driving, or not driving, but they have the football with some confidence. They're not going to run the football as much as they can, and it's just a matter of like, hey, who wants it more at this point, right?
Well, yeah, and they were very tendency prone. Honestly, when they lined up in this formation, this is their twin set here, that they were 80% pass when they lined up in this. So we knew at this point they're going to throw the ball. They kind of decided that they weren't going to be able to run on us, and with 6.5 minutes to go, they kind of committed to spreading it out, which I guess is spreading it out for them. So we knew they were going to throw.
And obviously we knew they were going to number one at this point. Was there any type of defensive strategy to make any adjustments to put a safety over the top, or what's the coaching mindset here?
Well, we do. Anytime we saw this formation, if you notice, whenever they were in some of their other sets, like even when they were in empty, their quarterback was their big runner for them this year. They returned all their skill guys except for their fullback. So they did a lot of quarterback run game. So their other two main sets, we played 8 guys down in the box. We played our cover 3 look and brought one of our safeties, brought Adam Peterson down in the box. And so when they came out in this set, you'll notice we brought Adam back. Played more of a 4 secondary shell. So we were preparing for the pass, and they don't, the idea here was to try to keep the ball in the front, avoid giving up those big long run passes. So, we gave up that 61-yarder that kind of hurt us. We wanted to keep the ball in front. We didn't feel like they could execute throwing the ball all the way down the field in this offense. Now they're going to end up scoring on this drive, but it still doesn't look pretty. We're just trying to keep the ball in front of us. We do have we have adjusted our coverages at this point.
Well, a 3rd and 2 run right there, you get some connection on him right at the beginning. It's a first down, but you're almost okay with that, right? Like, go ahead and run him, and we'll take the 1, 2, 3 yard gains. But at this point, we have to know something's coming, right? I mean, obviously you got to put the ball in the air.
Yeah, no, and you've seen here they've burnt 3 minutes off the clock already, just trying to drive the ball on us. We're hoping that we can just make a stop on 4th down, whatever, and get the ball back. They do a nice job of executing. I think they're going to throw a pass here a little bit later that's kind of a duck on 4th and 7, and he floats it up, and the guy makes a hell of a catch on it to convert and keep that drive alive.
Yeah.
We make one little play, we get the ball back, and the game's probably over.
And I don't know.
Good job.
I think we've missed it, to be honest with you, with the way that we kind of skip through things, but I think Brock Hofer's out right now, right?
Yeah, I think it's at this point. I think it was after that second touchdown that he ends up going down with a broken foot, and we lose him. Nah, he's still out there right now. I think it's anything we just tried.
Second down and 10. Instant pressure on the quarterback.
You see that, and the commentator even said it, instant pressure. And I'm going to go back to 51. I'm an Aiden Ingram fan. Talk about that kid and the leadership that I think he's going to bring. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the leadership he's going to bring over the next couple of years, he reminds me of a little bit of a Jace Friesen.
I think that's a very good comparison. Jace was a great leader for us. Jace was a guy who worked hard, built up instant credibility with his teammates because they knew he did things the right way. Aiden's the exact same.
Sure.
And he's not afraid to come out of his comfort zone. I really think, especially after Brock went down, Aiden was very much the leader of our defense. He understood everyone's position, all of it, and he was confident enough to speak up, and he did a great job of that. as a sophomore, and he's already doing as good a job of that as a sophomore. It's fun to see how he develops.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing for me that just makes it so amazing, as you say it, as a sophomore, right? It's just it's needed. You have to have a guy like that, especially with the high school kids. You have to have somebody that does it the right way, that shows it the right way, because these kids are so influential, or I guess that's not the right word, but they're so, easily influenced. What way are you going to pick? Are you going to pick the Jerron McPherson? Are you going to pick the Jace Friesen way? When it comes to work ethic and the Pat Muldoon way, or are you going to pick the easy way?
I think this is the play here where we got him into a 4th and 7. They float this pass that we're just right there, and they make a hell of a play to extend the drive.
Yeah, that's ball game if they don't catch that.
We're still good, but yeah, absolutely. If we knock that thing down, get the ball back with 4.5, and burn off another 2-3 minutes, it should be game over.
Yeah, it's game over at that point, but that's high school football.
And going back to what you said about Aiden, coaches get 3 timeouts a half, and you can't be out there calling timeouts to rally people after every bad thing.
Sure.
And you've got to have leaders on the field, and that's where I think that role that Aiden fills for us is so critical, because you've got to have that voice on the football field, that extension of the coach. And Aiden's very, very knowledgeable of the defense, and he's an extension of Coach Lohafer and Coach Livingston out there on the field. And I'm excited to see him running this defense for us on the field.
And you got Sam Hicks too, right? So he's not alone.
Absolutely. We got 2 inside backers, both sophomores. Sam's another kid that just watching him work in the offseason and build up his athleticism. And you could see early in the year his understanding of windows and stuff, and he was a step late early in the year. But I think as that experience goes and he's been in the fire, he starts playing a step faster.
There's the play right there. I think Brock goes down.
Yep, I think you're right.
Yeah, 3 minutes, 50 seconds to go. You see him kind of rolling over there. Now, I don't know that I've actually re-seen this, so I don't know if John's watching or not. But man, that's
well, that was a big loss. I mean, you talk about there's no substitute for experience, and Brock was one of those guys who was a key contributor to our defense the year before, and a guy that the other guys on our defense kind of look to. And when he's not on the field, when he's on the sidelines, Brock tried to be a leader a lot in the ways that he could the rest of the season. But it's moments like these where you got to have that guy on the field that people can turn to and lean on. And unfortunately, we didn't have Brock to fill that role the rest of the season. So it hurt. It definitely hurt our defense when you got a lot of young and inexperienced guys not to have that veteran out there.
As a coach, as a dad, as a teacher, what's going through your mind? Obviously, you got to win a football game, but what's going through your mind at this point?
Well, at this point, we don't realize the extent of what Brock's injury is, especially where it's a lower foot injury. At that point, you're kind of hoping it's a sprained ankle. He's out a week or so, and he's back. So, we didn't realize at the time how devastating it was. We knew in the moment that he probably wasn't going to be able to finish out the game, which was disappointing. But you can make it through one game. I don't think any of us realized in the moment that we were going to lose him for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think even in the booth we thought it was a high ankle, or something at that point. But, and I hate it for that kid, too, just because I know how hard he works. But I'm so excited to see him continue his career at Central Missouri. It's a kid that I think is going to represent this high school and you and the green and gold well.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing. That's the silver lining to a really dark situation there with Brock losing most of his senior year, is that at least he'll get an opportunity to go play football again. He's a kid that I think he understands what it's going to take at the next level. He's not afraid of hard work, and I think he's going to go into Central Missouri, and he'll find a way to get himself on the field and find a way to compete. And, I'm excited to see how his career develops the next 4 to 5 years. Yeah,
do you think you say 4 to 5? Do you think he's and I know you don't know this, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but is this I'm a big redshirt fan. Is this a kid that when you go to those D2 schools that redshirting is a good opportunity?
I think so. I think with a lot of kids, just especially coming from a 4A program, you get into that level, and if you're not going to be a starter the first couple of years, getting that redshirt year, getting that year of maturity, especially with a kid like Brock. That's the one thing I think we do really well as a community as a school is that we have a lot of dual sport, triple sport athletes. You know, Brock is a guy who played baseball, track, football, basketball, and you know, as a result, he's a really, really well-rounded athlete, and that's probably what's helped him get recruited to Central Missouri. But he's also never had that time to focus in on playing one sport. And so I think that means he still has a really high ceiling, but that redshirt year can be really big for him because now he can really commit and focus to just football for that redshirt year and just make himself that much better for the next 4.
So 2 minutes to go at this point. We got a one-score ball game, Coach.
Yeah, it's getting close. And we're going to get to a play here in a little bit that seals the game, and I want to talk about a little bit more. But I think this is also a tribute to some of the seniors we have who came into this game very, very inexperienced, and I think you see their growth even within this game where at this point, you know, they've scored 21 unanswered points. Momentum is absolutely against us. We have a whole bunch of inexperienced seniors and a whole bunch of inexperienced sophomores and even a freshman on the O-line that could have just let the momentum waft over them and lose this game. And I think they learned a lot in this moment, and we come back and put together an offensive drive, and we don't give them the ball back. So they've scored 3 straight scores. We're going to get the ball back here. And then just never give it back.
Can you just talk before we get off here too, because I want to make sure that this name gets out there, right? You mentioned it, a freshman offensive lineman that, to be honest with you, I think a lot of people didn't think, and maybe he didn't need to play as much as he did as a freshman, but ended up getting, I believe, all conference honors or maybe second team.
Second team,
yeah.
No, Levi Cooley stepped in and did a phenomenal job. You know, we knew the potential he had, even his 8th grade year. You know, one of the great things I think about what our program does is that we had a bunch of high school kids who come and help and coach and work at our youth camp. And Mason Capper, our junior rush-in starter, was there working camp with Levi when Levi was an 8th grader, and we actually in non-contact one-on-one drill put them together, and Levi held him off. Levi stoned him, and so here you had an 8th grader stopping a sophomore, going to be junior, rush in a drill, and you're like, dang, that's impressive.
That's big time. Yeah, for sure.
We knew how good Levi could be. Obviously, we didn't. If we had our choices, we wouldn't have thrown him into the fire quite so early. But
of course,
like you mentioned, he did a great job, grew throughout the season, ended up doing a great job for us and being a second-team all-conference player.
Well, you speak about Mason Capper here. I thought this was a big play just because of the early onside kick was so crazy. Mason was able to grab it.
Yeah. Now, and like I said, this is where I feel like some of our seniors kind of finally arrived a little bit, where there's a moment that, we could have muffed that and given them the ball back and let him go down and score and lost the game. But Mason comes up with a big play there. Chase is going to come up with an even bigger play here in a second. And, they didn't back down. They rallied, and they made the plays you have to do to win games. And so that was good to see.
So here you talk about Chase. Everybody's, they're looking at the wrist and 2:56 to go. You're still throwing the football because that's who you are, right?
Well, we tried the drive before to try to run the ball, try to burn clock, and especially early in the season this year, we hadn't figured out the run game yet. We had a very inexperienced offensive line. I think we had 4 new starters on the offensive line. One offensive starter we turned on the season was our center. So we knew we had to throw the ball and pick up some first downs. We couldn't afford to come in here and go 3 and out and burn 40 seconds off the clock because they still had all 3 timeouts at that time. And we didn't want to have to pump the ball from our own end zone with 2+ minutes on the clock. So we knew we had to throw and be aggressive still and pick up that first down.
So 2:40 to go, 2nd and 5. You're up by 2 in a game that you haven't scored in the second half.
Since early in the third quarter,
yeah. Fair point, early in the third quarter. So business as usual, or who makes the call? Obviously, I always look at the head coach as a CEO, right? And the CEO doesn't, you have your assistant coaches there for a reason. Who makes the adjustments?
It's a collaborative effort, especially offensively. Coach Taylor is our passing game coordinator. He's up in the box. He does a great job. He has a great understanding of our offense, and so he kind of gives us that bird's eye view of how the defense is lining up, where their weaknesses are at, where they're vulnerable, and helps us here. And this is the play of the
What
game.
a play, right?
And this goes absolutely back to Chase Torkelson's understanding.
Let's rewind that real quick just to give you a look at it, right? Let me see if I can.
Well, this is a play here. We've got our shallow concept, and we've got 5 options on this play. So we have 5 receivers out in the pattern. And so we try to eliminate a lot of our decision-making pre-snap. So pre-snap, quarterback has a couple of options based on how the defense is lined up. He can eliminate those options pre-snap. And if he does, then he goes back to a single defender read. They're going to end up trying to bring a linebacker off the weak side, and that was their flat defender on that side. And so Chase picked up on the fact pre-snap that they're blitzing, and there's no flat defender out there. So he knew before the ball was ever snapped that he was going to throw the ball out to Zach out of the backfield because they made it cover.
And there was a bad snap, right?
What's that?
And I believe it was a bad snap.
Well, that's just it. Yeah, exactly. And that proves that he made his decision pre-snap, and you can tell. Because, the snap is at his feet, his head's down. He just picks the ball up and literally throws blind out to the flat. And no quarterback's going to do that if they hadn't done their homework pre-snap. And so it just illustrated Chase's growth as a quarterback that he had read. You could tell he read the defense because there's no way he makes that play.
There it is.
Without having read the defense. So you watch on the top of the screen there, they're outside backers coming on a blitz. He picks the ball up out of the turf, flips it out there to Zach because he knows if that guy's blitzing, nobody's defending Zach. And Zach does a great job in forming an offense of staying in bounds so the clock can keep running. And so we burn an additional 40 seconds off the clock just because he stayed in bounds.
Well, and that's the other thing is how about the sophomore staying in bounds? I mean, that's football savvy right there.
Oh, absolutely. And, we work a lot of situationals, but Zach's also a smart football player, and he understands the game and understands situations because he's played it since he was old enough to put pads on. So it's definitely a great football play.
Well, and he's not afraid of contact, and he went to it there, right?
Absolutely. That's the fun thing about Zach is he develops in the weight room is that even as a sophomore, he's not afraid of contact, and as he gets bigger and stronger, he's going to be a physical presence as well.
So, talking it over, 2:03, first down. We get what? One first down, it's over at this point, right? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. No, we got the chart on the play script, and Coach Saylor's got it up in the box, and we know, they burn a couple timeouts here. We know at this point if we can get one more first down, we're going to be able to kneel it.
Talk about, I just see Coach Weezer in here, right? So talk about him as a part of your staff.
Oh, Coach Weezer does a phenomenal job, and I think the heart of Basehor Linwood has always been our strength program from Coach Suizo, and now with Coach Weezer, and the guy puts in an incredible amount of time and effort and energy into our program, and I don't think it's possible to be a good football program without having a good strength program, and to have a guy who's been a college head strength coach and a college running back coach on your staff is absolutely invaluable.
Did that make a difference to you? And you don't have to answer. You can tell Rodney, shut up. But did that make a difference when you took the job here?
Oh, absolutely. No, I'll be flat honest. I don't even consider. I don't apply. I don't even interview if I hadn't built up a relationship with Coach Suizo. I was a powerlifting coach at Linden when I was there, and we attended all the same powerlifting meets, and I'd had lots and lots of conversations with Coach Suizo, and so we'd actually taken kids to the Basehor Linwood powerlifting meet before the job came open, and so the job wouldn't have been on my radar, and it wouldn't have been something I would have considered had that not been in place.
Well, I'll tell you this, and I don't know that I'm the voice of this community, and I don't know that I want to be, but we're ecstatic that you're here, and to keep this going, just to have games like this, right? This was one of my favorite games. Look at Chase right there. Just he knows. They get it. They understand it. These are kids learning. These are kids that are understanding what it takes to win. And I don't know. I appreciate everything that's going on.
Well, I think you're being modest there. You absolutely are the voice of the Bobcats. Every basketball game, every football game, you are the voice of the Bobcats for sure. Now, this is a great game for us because it's the first win. I think the first win's always special in any season, just to build that confidence. And you can see the energy and the excitement from our players when we get the win. That they've put in a lot of time and a lot of hard work, and to have that pay off, this is a good taste for them.
So, and just to kick it to you a little bit, and just to throw a little bit more at you, like we've had 40 to 70 people on Friday night watching this. I mean, that's crazy to me. When I think I sent you a message like 3 o'clock today, and I wasn't sure that I could get this thing right, and I told you that if it wasn't right, I wouldn't do it. I mean, talk about the community, and I know that that's cliche and it is what it is, but we're kneeling down. We're going to take the win here, but talk about what the community means to you and your family, and why you put the time and the effort that you do in here.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, you cannot have a successful football program without a phenomenal community. And I think Linwood's absolutely a special place. I think the way they support the youth programs, I think the way they support the high school programs, I think you can see here with the crowd in attendance and the student section, all of that absolutely blends together and is what makes this community such a special place. Our parents and community's commitment to the weight program is unprecedented. I think you can see through all of our programs how much we ask of kids in the summer, how much we ask of kids to commit, and that commitment and buy-in doesn't come without parents, and they do a phenomenal job of it. And I'm very blessed to have an opportunity to coach here and to coach these kids and to work with these guys. And I'm really excited about the future of our program and the future of this community. It's a dynamic community. It's growing. I think that the ceiling is still very high for what we can accomplish, and I'm really excited to see how all this continues.
No, I am too, and Coach, I'll end it there, and just again, thank you for being so supportive and being able to jump on here with me for a guy that, man, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little obsessed and just different when it comes to the mindset. This idea jumped into me today and thought, man, why not? Let's do it. And so I appreciate you jumping on and being willing to just trust my leadership that we'll figure it out. I think it went well.
No, absolutely. I appreciate you asking, and I hope everybody understands how much work you put into this. I mean, we talked about this at like 3 o'clock, and I don't know that I hope you got a chance to eat dinner tonight, because I know you've been working since then to put all this together, and hopefully it went off really well and people got something out of it.
Sure.
I appreciate all you do to help promote our kids and to promote Basehor Linwood. And like I said, you're absolutely a part of that community and part of that fabric that helps make this all work.
Well, just promise me one thing: when we get that ring, I get the application, and I get to pay for mine too. I want one.
Hey, I tell you what, we get it done here. We're going to do it. It's going to happen. So
we will.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Coach. Man, I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. Sorry for keeping you up so late.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Yep.